I have no idea what that beeping is, but I'm sure it's a sign of safety. All right. We are live on YouTube for those wanting to follow us remotely around the world. Our first position, 2 cases, Santana Phillips, a terroristic threats case, which going forward would be a non-complex, and a tampering with evidence case. Oh, that's ringing a bell. Is that?
Is Mr. Pinion in on this video chat?
Yeah, so I need to turn the big screen on. I'll do that in a minute. But he's not.
Okay.
Ms. Nelson, was Mr. Pinion invited to this event? I'm sure he was.
I just talked with him on a different matter. I'll reach out to him.
Okay. You're gonna turn the big monitor on? It should be just the bottom button on the side there. Good, no, it's on, it's on. Let's just see if, oh no, it was on, I'm sorry, but it was saying no signal, so they weren't getting it to do what it needed to do. Okay, great, we'll see if it talks. Oh.
I think this all, normally there's someone here who sets up the Zoom.
Yeah.
But.
Well, thank you for doing that. Don't know who Mallory Stevens is. At least someone said it. You don't have to take this down, Ms. Martin. We aren't official yet.
Mallory Stevens is litigation manager for Judge LaGruer.
Interesting. Well, it lists her name on the joint meeting, but now Ms. Patel's gonna do it. I'm not looking at whatever her secret password is.
Oh, it's just, I wrote 1G. It says the meeting I need to know about.
You want the meeting ID?
Mm-hmm. 836.
And you can be Mallory Stevens, that's fine. Welcome, Mallory. 3 5s.
3, 9, 4, and then 5, 5, 5.
Look at that. Okay, excellent. So you make that big A+ to Ms. Patel.
Okay, I should turn the speaker off, but I think that should work.
Much better. All right, I still need to give feedback to our friends in IT that we're not quite at 1,000. Okay. So we have an echo again. Maybe if it's lesser. We'll try to make this work. Position 1 is Santana Phillips, and we are hoping that Mr. Pinion joins us. But we have Ms. Hall here as a representative of the state. So why don't you let us know what's going on with Santana Phillips?
So, Your Honor.
Ms. Martin, I'll let you know when you need to take stuff down.
About a year ago, we did a track 1 referral. The issue is that she was accepted. Everything was good to go, but she didn't have an updated RPR. And so they asked her to go get that done.
Track 1 to drug court?
BHTC.
BHTC, okay.
And so Judge Reeder would calendar this to check on status when Ms. Phillips hadn't gotten, whether she'd gotten all of her shots done. And so she is having issues in her private life that are, I guess, taking precedent over her getting these shots done. So I've been trying to pre-chat with Ms. Hall about whether we can try to work this out as a virtual PTI as opposed to a BHTC. But I do need to speak to Mr. Pinion about the other case, because I do anticipate hopefully a null cost on that. And then I think that that will put us in a better place for getting the virtual PTI done.
Sure. And am I remembering correctly that the allegations behind position 2 are Ms. Phillips or someone made a gun go away? Someone's dead. They found a dead body. There's nothing, at least initially, that connects Ms. Phillips to the death, but she allegedly did some things that made it harder to investigate the death.
Not quite. So, and I think that that's that Mr. Pinion's here, but the issue is that they don't even know what, if any, evidence was taken and what that evidence would have been.
Okay, that's how I remember it as well, that it was just sort of floating out there. Mr. Pinion, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
So we need to be able to hear you, and I fear we're back. What if you turn the speaker back on that, and I have mine off. Mr. Pinion, can you give us some text?
Can you not hear me?
Oh, now we can hear.
Okay, yeah.
Are you able to hear?
Okay, you can maybe bend the microphone down towards it. If the microphone's not on.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Pinion?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear him. It's not great, but Ms. Nelson, would you please reach out to IT and have them come down to 1D? Whatever they did isn't working real well.
Okay.
Thank you. So, Mr. Pinion, we're talking about Santana Phillips. She has 2 cases. One has nothing to do with you, and the other is this tampering with evidence that I'm remembering when we last talked about it. You were as flummoxed by it as we were as to what's going on with that case. Do you have any update?
I believe that I had spoken to the defense attorney to say I just really expected her to cooperate and we weren't going to have any problem resolving this case. It's attached to a murder case, I believe. I didn't know it was on the calendar today.
Well, my guess is you got this calendar. Ms. Nelson sends the calendars out to everyone on the team. So you get calendars that don't have your cases on it. And this was published a while ago, but the fact is it's on the calendar for final plea. I don't actually see Ms. Phillips here. I don't know how she would do her final plea if she was going to. Is she supposed to dial in, or did you talk with someone excusing Ms. Phillips?
I haven't talked to her yet, but I would like an opportunity to reach out. I was hoping that she would be here, but
Okay.
I have a chance to reach out to her.
We will do that. So, Mr. Pinion, what you're saying about the tampering with evidence case is that you expect that to be resolvable, but you need Ms. Phillips' cooperation in connection with the murder.
Yes. I think if she testifies truthfully, then we're not going to have a problem resolving the case, but we don't want to close it until that time comes.
And why do you think she has anything helpful to say about the murder?
Well, I believe she's given a statement that she does have firsthand knowledge about it, but she had originally given misinformation, and we believe that her second statement would have been true, and we don't want to close it until testimony is gotten at a trial or the co-defendant enters a plea.
Mr. Pinion, I'm very confused. You don't have someone arrested on this murder. So I'm not sure what you mean by testimony.
All right. Well, I need to pull the case. If I could, I'm sorry, the calendar I have doesn't have this case on it.
Are you looking at a calendar for today? It's position 2.
2. I thought that I was. So
I'm happy to give you the
I'm
case
keep-
number.
yes, that would help me.
All right, it's 19 SC 171419.
Okay.
I'm remembering this now that I read the indictment again. It says that she allegedly removed items of evidentiary value for a homicide investigation. And when we talked to you about it, Mr. Pinion, I think your answer was, well, I'm not sure what homicide investigation that might have been, or at least there hadn't been dots connected. So I understand why she might be a person of interest, but we still need to move her cases along. And what I heard Ms. Patel saying is, well, who's the murderer then, against whom she would offer
Right.
potentially helpful testimony?
I'm not even showing in our computer system that this case, I'm very sorry, that was even assigned to me. This looks like the trial division indicted it, and it was never in major case. It's never, a major case attorney never looked at this, and the trial division indicted it.
So the complaint room, I bet, indicted it, not the trial division.
Right.
And this is what you told us last time, is that like, whoa, I'm not quite sure how this connects to major case, which is, of course, the rub.
And it's coming to me now, Your Honor, that I did speak to our indictment team after we had discussed this case before, and they were surprised themselves and did not know that the complaint room had indicted this. That was done without them, without any major case involvement. So that's why when I was looking in our system, the case is not coming up as even assigned to me. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't. I mean, we're all employees, and I'm happy to take care of it.
No, I hear you. I'm not suggesting you're trying to duck it. If you sense that I'm frustrated, it's because we're now having a repeat of the conversation we had last time we were together, which was in, well, I have to look at Odyssey again. That would have been in May. So 2 months ago, the things you just shared with me, you shared, hey, the trial division indicted this, and it didn't sound like the homicide was on anyone's radar. It might be on Sprinkle's radar or something, but it certainly wasn't your case. And I didn't mean to suggest that Ms. Phillips' position 2 on this calendar is your case.
Yes.
We can't move it along until we figure out what's going on the homicide side.
The police agency on this case as to the homicide.
Can you repeat that?
Our office does not even have a file for the homicide. So I was confusing it earlier with a different case, but now with that recollection, there has not been an arrest warrant issued for anybody in the homicide case. So there is nothing in our office.
Okay. So
I don't think that I would be surprised if she would be interested in entering a plea.
no, I don't think she is. I think that's why we're here. It's final plea date, and the first position, it's not, I can't believe he left.
I think if people not talking, turn off their mics, that might help, because
Okay,
I have mine off, but.
yeah, mine's off too. It sounded really good when Mr. Pinion was talking. It sounds terrible now. Well, I guess you better keep talking, Mr. Pinion. The first position was supposed to resolve with the BHTC referral, but it got stuck because of the second case, the tampering case.
So, okay. Are you able to hear me if I speak?
Yes.
How about it, if I was able, let me see if I can get authority to wrap that into the referral or to null process this. It technically is not my case, but I don't want to punt this, and I would like to just work on it right now. And
I think that's great. And we have Ms. Hall here who had, I mean, I guess if it's not your case, then it's her case, but she has rightly said, you know, the language of the indictment talks about a homicide.
yes, it talks about a homicide, that there's been no arrest and nothing brought to our office on, and the complaint room did this on their own. But I don't want to put this off on anybody else. So I want to see if I can get something done today, right now. And I'm going to talk, if I can have some time to talk to Mr. Sprinkle, and it may be that it is a null pros that, but since it's not my case, I have to get approval for me to take this action.
Okay, when you say it's not your case, it belongs then to Ms. Hall, who's sitting right here. I assume it's not her approval you need.
No, it's
Okay.
she would need approval probably to do that as well. But
Okay.
instead of trying to push it back onto someone else, I'd just like to take care of it
I
myself.
appreciate that. You go work on that.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let us know. You need to try to find Miss Phillips.
Right, if I can have enough information.
Great. And we need IT back down here.
I finally talked to a voice. They're on the way. I had sent him an email as well.
No, you did great. They came down here and he plugged some things in and left. And it doesn't work. At risk of deafening people with the feedback, who represents William Martin?
Theoretically, I would, Your Honor. If you recall from the last that we pre-tried the case, I had not been able to establish contact with him. Sorry, I don't know if you can see me. And I think we agreed to put it forth towards final plea that in anticipation of me being able to get in contact with him, that the nature of the charges was such that we believed that we would be able to reach a quick resolution. I think we would have a resolution, but I still haven't been able to make contact with him. So I've not had contact with him during this COVID period. And that's where we are.
Okay.
But I think Ms. Hall and I have had some discussions, and if he were to appear today, I believe the offer would have been for restitution of about $250 to be made, and then the case would be null pros. It was a damage to a window of a car, and it was some time ago.
Oh yeah, look at that. It's 4.5 years old. I'm not ignoring anyone. I'm just waiting for them to come fix the audio.
Not a problem.
Snyder, you have just position 9, is that right? Ms. Eubanks? Do you think she's showing up here or dialing in, or what do you know?
I'm not certain, I haven't been able to get in contact with her unless she's her number that you can, that I can use your phone driving, and now it's not in further.
Okay.
But she's in PTI, virtual PTI, one of the conditions.
Oh, right, she's supposed to testify against the remaining person, McElroy. And I wanted us to talk because if McElroy is not, what we call it, the ringleader, then that's not criminal. It's terrible feedback. All right, let's try. Now that you're here, of course, it's going to work. Let's do some business while we have IT here. But it was providing real bad feedback. But now you've already started pressing buttons. All right, let's go back to Santana Phillips. So, Ms. Martin, you don't need to take this down. Can you hear me? Yes, thumbs up? Okay, great. All right, so with Santana Phillips, lawyer's not here. No lawyers on here right now, except for the prosecutor. Ms. Hall, position 4 is PTI, is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. And that's a PTI, I think you submitted the order already?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Position 5 was a null cross,
That's correct, Your Honor.
and position 6, is that your case or is that major case?
I thought it was a major case, but it's been my understanding that it's a major case, but I'm not sure, Your Honor.
What was relayed to me through Ms. Nelson is that this is going to go away.
It's major case, Judge.
It is major case?
It is.
Okay, well, we'll Mr. Pinion gets back on. Apparently, Ms. Campbell is paying some restitution, and by August 27th, it will go away.
Yeah, it's on another calendar for the 27th, and I think they'll wrap everything up at that time. So those parties were excused from today.
Okay, great. Well, you guys were all in here. There was real bad feedback, right? Did you adjust anything, or you just walked in the room?
Actually, I brought down the actual laptop volume to about 60%.
Okay,
So
you think that might have been,
possibly,
Okay.
if you have your microphone on, no, not that one. You have your phone actually connected to the meeting or no?
No, not my phone,
Do you
but
have
my
your
laptop.
laptop microphone on?
No, it's
Okay.
and should the microphones in the courtroom be on or
They
off?
should be off. They should be off.
Okay, so no green lights anywhere, even at council table?
Right.
Okay, all right, stay here for like 5 more minutes, just so we can have everyone talk and see what happens.
No problem.
Ms. Patel, you made another effort to reach out to Ms. Phillips. Any success?
More or less, Your Honor. I did speak with her mother. Apparently they moved a few weeks ago, and so she's not sure if Ms. Phillips would have known about this court date. She said she sees her daughter about every other day, so she said she would, you know, if Your Honor ends up issuing a bench warrant, she said she will try to have her daughter call me so we can bring her into court, have it set aside.
Okay. I think it would be good for Ms. Phillips to connect with us. I'm not insisting she come into the building, but at least become available online. She's got to get this BHTC thing squared away. And it sounds like it's not you and it's not BHTC, it's Ms. Phillips who, for maybe good reasons, but she needs to take the steps necessary to be a track 1 referral. My sense is that Mr. Pinion is working hard right now to make position 2 go away.
Right,
Sounds like the right thing.
right.
And then we've got someone with some terrorist threats charges who probably needs to be in BHTC. But Ms. Phillips needs to engage, and I worry that she's been on bond for so long with sort of no requirements to do anything. She may be thinking that this is something that she can ignore without consequence. It's not quite right. So why don't we, I think unless you don't want me to, Ms. Hall, I'll issue a bench warrant, but Ms. Phillips can clear that by either coming to court or through Ms. Nelson, Ms. Patel, if you can arrange a Zoom session, if that's something Ms. Phillips is able to support, where we can get down to the brass tacks of what do you need to do. Maybe we even get Mr. Abrams or Mr. Tucker on the Zoom call so they can say, we have a spot for her, but she needs to do X.
Right.
We can set a deadline for doing X, and if it doesn't happen, then she doesn't need to be out on bond anymore because the case isn't heading towards resolution. I'm not going to worry about position 2 because I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to go away. Does that work for you, Ms. Hall?
It does, Your Honor.
Okay. So Ms. Nelson, if you'll prepare, if you and Ms. Hall will coordinate on the bench warrant for Ms. Phillips, and then we'll just be on the lookout for a call from Ms. Patel saying early next week, we want to do whatever we're going to do. And we'll all wait to see, oh, Ms. Martin's raising her hand.
I'm sorry, I didn't want IT to leave before you because you're still kind of echoing.
Okay.
Everyone else is okay. It's you.
All right.
It's all you, Your Honor.
So did I turn?
I don't hear anything.
My computer is muted. Should I not have my computer muted?
Yes, it should be.
It should be muted.
Yes.
You sound better.
Sound better?
You sounded better right then.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had unmuted myself on Zoom. I put it back. So it's muted.
It's better when it's muted. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Am I less tinny?
Yes.
All right. Great.
Thank you.
I don't know
Okay,
if
Judge.
there's anything today you need to take down when his calendar's heading, but I appreciate you flagging that because we still have IT here.
Judge, I'm sorry. I just wanted to be clear on Phillips. Are we doing a bench warrant or we're not, or?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Bench warrant, and I'm happy to set it aside when Ms. Phillips comes to court or connects with us on Zoom so that we can get closure on this case. And Ms. Hall, I don't mean to just take Ms. Patel's word for it, but position one is still a track one VHTC referral
Yes,
as
sir.
far as you're concerned?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if Mr. Pinion is able to make position two go away, then, and Ms. Phillips can get herself into VHTC, we've resolved those two positions.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, all right. Then let's turn to position three. We'll have Mr. Franklin talking through the system here, and if that works, I'll let IT go for now. See if they need to come back. So Mr. Franklin, as I understand it, Mr. Martin, you're having trouble reaching him. In fact, you have not been successful in doing so since you took the case over. The case ought to be work-outable, but we need to find Mr. Martin.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay. So my thought is that we do a bench warrant for Mr. Martin as well. And same situation, if he pops up on your radar, Mr. Franklin, he can come on in or we can connect remotely with him. But otherwise, his case is stuck until we're able to find him.
May I know that's typically the way we handle things, Your Honor, and I don't, I guess, firmly object to it. But I guess the concern that I would have, given the unique circumstances of this case, being that it's a 2016 incident, was indicted in 2019. I believe it was April of 2019. And yes, I understand that I've not been able to have contact with him, and he needs to be able to come to court to answer to his charges. But I think it's a set of circumstances that was created by the DA's office, the time that has passed. And as opposed to putting something out for his arrest, is it possible, especially while we still have the concerns of COVID and the jail, to just dead docket the case and for me to continue to try to figure out a way to get in touch with him? Because my concern is bringing him into custody, and it's never like, oh, you get arrested on Monday and we're able to get you brought back into court on Wednesday and we solve the case. It's gonna be, a week before we realize he's in custody, and then get him on the calendar. And there are certain things that negatively impact defendants when they're brought into custody. I just would like to protect him from that.
Okay, I hear you. Ms. Nelson works faster than that, but I understand your point. Ms. Hall, what's your thought about Mr. Martin's situation?
Your Honor, like counsel said, it is a very old case. I spoke with the victim myself, and the only thing he's really concerned with is the deductible that he pays for his window. And so ultimately, if he was able to speak with the defendant, we would have most likely did a virtual PTI to dead docket. So it's essentially the same. We just don't know if he'll be able to get in contact with the defendant. I'm okay with that, and see where it goes, because it is essentially only the $250 that we're asking for at this point.
Sure. Mr. Martin struggles with something. This would be his 15th felony if it ended up being a conviction. And so it's not unreasonable to think he might bump into law enforcement sometime in the future. And if this case were dead docketed, it could always be pulled back up, and then we could try to make the victim whole. In looking at Mr. Martin's history, I don't know, also known as Mr. Brown, Mr. Hedspeth, that he'd be in a position to pay restitution, but at least it could be part of any disposition in this case. So I think, given that it's a 2016 incident, early 2019 indictment, which isn't the fault of anyone in this conversation, it makes sense to, and I'll talk with Ms. Nelson offline about how we do it, but to have it moved to a dead docket. So it's not dismissed, it's out there, and he needs to stand up and deal with it if and when he next crosses paths with law enforcement. But it's not the kind of thing that there would be a warrant in the system for.
You
Okay,
could put a judicial hold, Judge.
sure. All right, Ms. Martin, were you able to hear everyone who engaged in that conversation? Great. All right, so we'll try it. Please don't leave the building. All right, so we'll put Martin on judicial hold. Ms. Patel.
Judge, may I be excused? I have a 2:00 conference call.
Sure, your only matter was Phillips?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, positions 4 through 6 are resolved. So our next position is not till 2:20. And is Attorney Sims handling that, or is that someone else's case? I don't know Wayman Sims.
I guess I'll check.
Okay.
Could I provide some insight as long as it's off the record?
Yes, we haven't had anything on the record.
Okay, good. So I'm familiar with this case because this gentleman didn't qualify for our services, and the issue is that Mr. Sims, and I think Ms. Hall might remember this, and Mr. Franklin actually, had sent a individual that was not an attorney to court who had filed the entry, done all of that, and represented herself as if she was an attorney to Judge Reeder, pre-tried with the state and received discovery on this individual's behalf. Then the next court date he had, the same woman showed up on his behalf. It was discovered she was not an attorney, but she does work for Mr. Sims. The issue is that there seems to be a huge disconnect between his representative and him, because the last time this was on a calendar, he said he didn't know this person.
Mr. Sims said that?
Mr. Sims, and then Your Honor pointed out the fact that there was an entry in the system.
Looking at it, I remember this now, that he's like, why are you connecting me with this gentleman?
Right.
Oh, because you filed an entry.
Right, and so he has been paid. Mr. Marrero just really, I think that there had been like an offer to misdemeanor or something like that, and so I'm just really trying to hope, for the sake of this gentleman, that his case is able to get resolved soon.
Okay, well, I appreciate you reminding me of that. So we don't know if anyone is coming in to the courtroom, or if in 40 minutes they'll be dialing in. But Wanda Cooper is the name that is the entry of appearance had Mr. Sims all over it, but it also has an email address that is Wanda Cooper. Wondering if that was this person
Right.
who's saying, and Mr. Sims acknowledged, oh, Wanda Cooper works with me, or?
So I don't think that connection was made, and so if he's reminded, it wasn't you that ever came to court, it was an assistant or person that was working on your behalf that had done the paperwork.
Interesting. All right. Apparently that was memorable because Miss Snyder
Well, Judge Reeder was not happy.
I can imagine. Okay.
And then really quick, Your Honor, have you had a chance to sign that accountability court acceptance for Mr. Brown?
I filled out a referral. We have to do a referral, and I gave that to Ms. Nelson, who was supposed to get it. Because it's track one, it has to have the prosecutor's signature.
I did get the referral back to Ms. Nelson, but they need you to sign an order of admission.
Okay,
And I think we're waiting for that order of admission from the other side, BHTC. I think I alerted Cheryl on that, but I will follow up.
I'll sign it when I get it. It may be that Mr. Abrams sent both things, a generic order of admission and a referral, but because it was track one and the fact that we were trying to use this new form, says really don't sign an acceptance until, for example, with track one, you have the prosecutor's signature.
Right.
So we'll figure that out.
Thank you, Judge.
Sure, thank you. Oh, no, you're free to go. So Mr. McElroy, the person against whom Ms. Eubanks is supposed to provide truthful testimony is supposed to show up just before your client. I assume Dennis Francis is not the lawyer for McElroy.
It's
No.
Herbert Adams, Your Honor.
Okay.
Was the C3 that was on.
All right.
And Your Honor, that, I know Mr. Adams is not here, but for the sake of Miss Mary Beth, that'll be a PTI. So we're not expecting a trial on that case, so,
So then Ms. Eubanks, whose only remaining part of her PTI, BPTI, whatever it was to provide truthful testimony. She doesn't need to because McElroy isn't going to trial.
that's correct.
Okay.
There
So
may
what
be
do we
one
need?
other condition, they may have worked it out before court,
The only two conditions were 40 hours of community service and the truthful testimony. My only issue is I believe she's completed her PTI or the community service hours. The last time she was on a calendar where we were in real court was in January for the reader. And that was a day that I wasn't there. I had an attorney cover for me. I have a note on my calendar that says a timesheet was handed over, but when I spoke to the attorney that covered for me, she didn't remember. And since I haven't actually been able to speak with Ms. Eubanks, I don't want to say that she's completed them if she hasn't, but I think she has.
Okay. So we're not in a position to dismiss this yet because we need to find, unless there's something in the DA's file.
we talked about this morning, I looked and there was nothing. And, I mean, I would have been in court that particular day, so I would have added it to the file, but
Okay.
there was nothing in the actual file to confirm, so we spoke about it,
And Ms. Eubanks, you said in the last couple of weeks, her phone got turned off or?
We were playing phone tag when she was on the calendar in May. And then when I've been trying to call her the last 2 weeks in preparation for today, it's just gone to, this service, this phone is no longer in service.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't mean for you to stick around, and I guess Ms. Eubanks could show up.
I know that the notice that's in Odyssey was sent to the same address that I have for her, so.
Okay. And I guess for McElroy, it's the same deal. We need Mr. Adams to plug in one way or the other so that, does he know it's going to be PTI?
he does, he's, probably filling out, he's had the paperwork since around 11:30, 12 today,
Okay, so
so.
he's going to be,
Right.
he'll either be here or he'll be online.
Right.
All right. So my thought is you should come back around 2:30 so you can, unless you need to go, because then you can hear what happens with McElroy and then we'll see if Ms. Eubanks shows up. Does that make sense? Okay. So we'll see what happens at 2:20 with Marrero. Our last position at 3 is is Dana Dowdy with Attorney Kerr. Is that a private attorney, Ms. Nelson?
Mark Curry used to be a public defender.
Yeah, I think that's
He was in
Mr.
the
Franklin's
nonprofit
case.
unit.
I think
Okay.
it's- Well, he's not a problem.
So, Mr. Franklin, is Dana Dowdy your case?
Yes, Your Honor, it is.
Okay, all right. Well, we have what we need. I see Mr. Pinion is back. Do you have an update on Ms. Phillips?
Yes. I have talked to quite a number of people, and it's not assigned a major case, but I said I would take it. So I do have approval to take it. I'm gonna move to null process. As it's indicted, is not stating a crime that is provable. So ethically, right now, it says she tampered with evidence with a homicide, and the police have not judged that there was any unlawful homicide. The victim died with the gun it appears he had fired, found right by his hand. And so I don't think the indictment states a crime. Um, and for that reason, that among others, I'm going to move to null process.
Okay, I appreciate you following up on that, and grabbing it, running with it. So that'll make it easier to work through position one. And we'll take care of putting the stamp on the indictment in position two.
All right.
I think that was all you had on this one.
Yes.
All right, have a good weekend.
All right. Thank you then. May I be excused?
Yep. Mr. Franklin, what's happening? The notes I've got on the calendar is that Ms. Dowdy is a drug court referral. I know we're jumping out of order here, but if that's your only case and we can resolve it or sort it out right now, we don't need to keep you on.
Yeah, I'm gonna as soon as we kind of get to a break, I'm gonna call her. I told her to log on at about 2:50 because her time was until 3:05, but I can call and see if she's available earlier.
Okay.
We've made an alteration, but we still have a negotiated agreement. She recently had a child, and she's not sure that she would be able to keep up with the schedule and demands of drug court. She has no prior felony history. And so based on that and her comparatively limited involvement in the situation compared to the unarrested co-conspirator, we've reached an agreement on probation and first offender treatment. So I just need to get her on the phone and get her to log in earlier than before.
All right, so what I'm hearing Mr. Franklin say, Ms. Hall, is that this will be a plea today, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm happy if we can get Ms. Dowdy on now, we could take the plea. We've got time between that and our next position, but there's no rush. So if you find her, have her dial in and we'll take that plea, and that will get us up to when Marrero is supposed to be here anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna call her now, and I'll let somebody know as soon as I pick up the phone.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Judge, I did call Mr. Sims' office. There's no answer. I left a voicemail, so that's that.
All right, I'm not holding high hopes, but we'll see what happens. They're not late. It's a half hour away. So we can't go mute here. That's annoying. Like, Mr. Franklin's on the phone. You have to go do what he wants, but there's not a way to mute. Oh, we don't need. I realized.
Okay, I got her on the phone. She's gonna go ahead and try to log in now.
Great. All right, Ms. Martin, get those finger or get that mouthpiece ready. So what's the prognosis for?
Physical therapy, which hurts. And then slant needs to be in July, probably through August.
But not surgery or something, it's just immobilize it and then exercise it.
As long as everything goes forward the way it has been, it's just slaying and starting.
Well, good luck with that. employees. All right, I'm gonna go pick up the indictment. I just printed it out. I'll be right back. You need to check in with Ms. Dowdy, or you have a sense of what's happening, Mr. Franklin? Well, I hope it's still working. Can you not hear me? It'll be unfortunate if it's not working. Ms. Martin, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I turned off my volume. That was on me.
Well, don't do this to me. Do you
Need to check in with Ms. Dowdy. I'm not getting impatient. I just want to make sure she's not stressing out because she can't figure out how to connect.
Yeah, I thought she would be on. I just sent her a text and she's typing back now. So
Okay.
I got the dots. Dots mean anything. So I'm just waiting for the message to pop up. One second. The dots disappeared. So there were some technical issues with the phone. She's trying to use an iPad now.
Okay.
She's downloading it to the iPad. That's her. It was her.
Yeah. And
Can you hear us, Dana?
Hello.
hey, is this Ms. Dowdy?
Yes. Uh-oh.
It's good. We can see you. We can hear you. Don't move around too much. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Are you able to see anyone on the screen?
I'm sorry, what?
Are you able to see anyone on the screen?
No, I'm not. No, I do not.
Okay. Um, Are you in a car, right? Hey, Miss Dowdy?
I think she just put some headphones in. To try
Okay,
to
now I see you.
Okay.
Okay, great. Are you in a car right now? Can you hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you okay going forward with your case right now? You were supposed to be on a little bit later, and it looks like we may have caught you in your vehicle.
Yeah.
Do you want to drive somewhere and get out of the car, or are you okay just having the conversation where you are?
I'm having a bad connection breaking up. Let me see.
Are you close to home?
I'm sending her a text on her phone now. Give me a second.
Okay, now I switched my internet, so now I think it's better.
Okay. Do you feel like the connection is stable enough that we can have this conversation, or do you want to drive home?
Yes. No, I think it's going to be better now.
Okay. Well, we'll try it. If we need to pause because you need to relocate, will you let us know?
Okay.
Great. That does seem a lot better. All right. Well, we're going to go on the record now. So we actually have a court reporter taking down what's being said. If at any time, Ms. Dowdy, you cannot hear me or your lawyer, Mr. Franklin, or the prosecutor, will you let me know?
Okay.
Great. As I understand, you are prepared to enter a plea in your case. You're charged with burglary and a couple other things. And Mr. Franklin has told me that you've worked out a plea agreement with the prosecutor. Is that correct?
Correct.
Well, for us to do that, you have to be put under oath, which we'll have the prosecutor do in just a moment. But I need you to let me know, number one, that you are comfortable having this conversation, even though you're not here in court in person.
Yes, I am.
The other thing that you are waiving or giving up in this setting is to have Mr. Franklin right there with you, so that if you have a question, if you were in court, you could just lean over and let him know what your question was, and you and he could speak privately. Are you waiving your right to have Mr. Franklin by your side?
Yes.
We can have you, Ms. Dowdy, and Mr. Franklin speak privately. I would move you into a breakout room, sort of technically moving your feed and Mr. Franklin's feed so that you can speak in private. I would not be able to hear what you're saying, nor would the prosecutor. So if you need to speak with Mr. Franklin in private, will you let me know?
Okay.
Great. Then I think we're ready to proceed. Once you're under oath, it's important that you answer the questions that you are asked truthfully and completely. So if there's something said that you do not understand or that you cannot hear because you have a bad connection, I need you to wave your hand or say, wait a minute, so that we can try to fix it. Will you do that?
Yes.
Great. Ms. Hall?
Thank you. Ms. Dowdy, can you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you should give in the matter currently before this court should be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. You may lower your head. Please state your true, correct, and legal name.
Dana Ann Dowdy.
Are you at this time taking or under the influence of any alcohol, drugs, or medicine?
No.
Is there any medication that you normally take that you have not been given today?
No.
How old are you and how far have you gone in school?
I am 39 and I went to I'd say half a ninth grade.
Are you able to read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes,
Do you understand that you've been charged with burglary in the first degree, willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer, and theft by receiving stolen property?
yes,
Do you understand that you have the right to plead either guilty or not guilty to those charges? And if you plead not guilty or remain silent, you may receive a jury trial.
yes,
Have you had enough time to speak with your attorney, Mr. Franklin, about all the facts and circumstances known to you regarding the charges in this indictment, including any potential defense?
yes.
Do you need more time to discuss this case with your attorney?
No, I think I'm good.
All right, but you know, Ms. Dowdy, if you do need to talk with Mr. Franklin, it's real easy to move the two of you into that private room. So just let me know, okay?
Okay,
Are you satisfied with the services of your attorney, Ms. Dowdy?
yes,
Counsel, do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
yes,
Mr. Franklin,
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Cassie.
do you waive formal reading of the indictment?
So waived.
Do you waive any and all defects in the indictment, including with respect to the defendant's name?
Yes, for purposes of this plea.
And do you waive moving forward on the copy of the indictment?
So waived.
Ms. Dowdy, have you been arrested on these charges?
yes,
The state is unaware of any outstanding warrants that are related to these charges. Do you or your attorney know of any outstanding warrants related to these charges?
no,
Has your attorney advised you of the minimum and maximum sentence to the charges that you're pleading to?
yes,
The minimum and maximum sentence for burglary in the first degree is 1 to 20 years to serve. Minimum and maximum for theft by receiving stolen property is 1 to 10 years to serve. And minimum and maximum for, or the maximum for willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer is 12 months to serve.
Can you speak up just a little? I'm sorry, just a little.
okay. Oh,
No, you're fine, Miss Dowdy. I'm talking to Miss, I'm
Ms.
sorry, Miss Hall.
okay,
Thank you.
Ms. Dowdy, do you understand that this is a negotiated plea of guilty, which means that the state will recommend to the court a sentence of 2 years probation for burglary in the first degree, 2 years probation for theft by receiving stolen property, and 12 months probation to run concurrent for willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer. But the court does not have to accept that recommendation. The court can sentence you to the maximum on each of these charges and can run those sentences consecutively or one after another.
yes,
Do you understand this is a guilty plea, which is permanently recorded on your criminal history?
yeah,
Do you understand this plea may be used to enhance sentencing on other convictions in this jurisdiction as well as other jurisdictions, including the federal courts?
yes,
Do you understand that if you're currently on probation or parole, your probation or parole may be revoked based on you entering a guilty plea today?
yes,
Do you understand that if you're placed on probation of any kind, you cannot violate any criminal laws of any governmental unit or any special conditions of probation without being subject to revocation for the balance of the sentence?
yes,
Do you understand that you're not allowed to possess or use a firearm while on probation?
yes,
Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen, a guilty plea conviction will affect your immigration status and will result in deportation, just as a conviction at trial would? And this is true regardless of any advice by your attorney or anyone else.
yes,
Do you understand do you understand that by pleading guilty to a felony, if you use, receive, possess, or transport a firearm, or use a firearm in a crime, you will be guilty of a felony which may carry a sentence of 1 to 15 years in prison?
yes,
Are you asking to be treated as a first offender under the provisions of the First Offender Act?
yes,
Have you ever pleaded guilty or nolo contendere to, or ever been convicted of a felony in the state of Georgia or any other jurisdiction?
no,
Have you ever been sentenced for any crime, felony or misdemeanor under the First Offender Act?
No.
Has your lawyer explained the First Offender Act to you?
Yes.
Do you understand if you violate the terms of the first offender sentence or commit a new offense while on first offender probation, your first offender status could be revoked, you could be adjudicated guilty, and you could be resentenced up to the maximum sentence for each charge in this indictment?
Yes.
Do you understand that you waive any and all defenses, including any mental health defenses, by answering a plea of guilty?
Yes.
Do you understand that if you went to trial, you would have the right to a trial by jury, the right to see, hear, and confront witnesses called to testify against you, and the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself?
Yes.
Do you understand that by pleading guilty, you're giving up the following rights? The right to a trial by, I'm gonna give you a list of rights that you're giving up.
Okay.
The right to a trial by jury, the right to remain silent and not incriminate yourself, the right to confront witnesses against you, the right to the assistance of counsel hired by you or to court-appointed counsel, the right to the presumption of innocence, the right to testify on your own behalf and to present other evidence, the right to subpoena witnesses and compel the production of evidence, the right to have the charges against you proved beyond a reasonable doubt, and the right to appeal if convicted of these charges after a trial.
Yes.
Has anyone forced, threatened, or promised you anything to get you to enter a guilty plea today?
No.
Is it your decision to waive these rights and enter a guilty plea because you're in fact guilty?
Yes.
How do you plead to the charges of burglary in the first degree, theft by receiving stolen property, and willful obstruction of a law enforcement officer in indictment number 19 SC 173133?
Guilty.
Is this guilty plea freely and voluntarily given with full knowledge of the charges against you?
Yes.
Do you understand that you only have a limited right to appeal this guilty plea conviction?
Yes.
Do you understand that you only have 12 months from today for a misdemeanor and 4 years from today for a felony charge to file a habeas corpus petition challenging the voluntariness of this guilty plea?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Dowdy. Your Honor, the state is unaware of any prior felony convictions by this defendant. And had this case proceeded to trial, the state would have proven that on October the 21st, 2019, at 6000 Cascade Palmetto Highway, that's in Fairburn, Georgia, in Fulton County, officers responded to their location after receiving a call from Mr. Jack Lee, spelled Lecroy, who stated that he saw 2 individuals entering his house at that above location. The witness, also being the victim, stated that he witnessed the individuals taking boxes from inside of his house to a van that was parked outside in the driveway. When officers arrived to that location, that vehicle started to leave erratically out of that driveway. At some point during the chase of that vehicle, officers noticed the passenger vehicle of that car opening. The defendant got out of the vehicle. They terminated the pursuit to the vehicle, and they were able to catch the defendant. At some point during the investigation, the defendant was Mirandized, and she did originally stated that she was kidnapped, but she did eventually admit that she was a part, and she did take part in taking these items. The defendant was arrested and charged accordingly. That is all from the state. There is no restitution in this case, Your Honor. The vehicle was found abandoned some ways down from where the defendant was captured, and the boxes were in the vehicle. And so that is all from the state.
So Mr. LaCroix got everything back, as far as he knows?
Well, I stopped there because we spoke with him today and yesterday, and it seems that he's more concerned with no restitution, but he wants the defendant to give up the person that she was with because he felt like he was more culpable. So after re-reviewing this case, I realized that he should have gotten everything back. I need to confirm that he did after APD was able to secure those items.
Okay.
But he did say to us no restitution because what he wants in turn is the real, who he thinks is the real defendant, which is the person that was driving the vehicle.
Got it. Okay. And did Mr. LaCroix indicate that he knew Ms. Dowdy? Was she a stranger to him?
Yes, she was a stranger to him. And, also, Your Honor, Ms. Rolak does have a, victim impact statement, whenever you allow her to read that.
Okay. I'll get that in just a second. Ms. Crawford, do you have any criminal history for Ms. Dowdy?
No criminal history found for Ms. Dowdy.
Thank you. All right, Ms. Rolak, you have something from Mr. LaCroix?
Yes, Judge. He says, "Dear Judge McBurney, what can I say that could possibly make a difference in someone's life who has sunk so low that crime has become a reasonable option? I don't know, but I do know this. The path Dana Dowdy is on leads to death and destruction. I speak from experience. For some, getting caught is the best thing that can happen because it gives you a chance to take a different path. I sincerely hope she does. Jack LaCroix."
Thank you, Ms. Rolak. And please thank Mr. LaCroix for sharing that. It's always helpful to hear the victim's perspective. Okay, Mr. Franklin, what do you want to add?
Thank you, Your Honor. What I will add is this. The worst thing that I think Ms. Dowdy did during this entire set of circumstances was behave consistently with a drug addiction that she was dealing with. The gentleman she was with was a guy that she knew, but they weren't best friends. They weren't frequent acquaintances. They met a couple times before, and she knew his first name. She provided that information to the police officers. That's all the information that she has. Their plan that day was to go do some drugs. I think, if I remember correctly, Ms. Dowdy had ran into him at a gas station, and they engaged in some conversation, and they came up with a plan to go do some drugs. He said, "But hey, I need to go do this thing right quick." The thing that they needed to go do right quick was get some boxes out of a house. She was not aware that the house wasn't a place that this gentleman had authority to be. So she did help move some boxes. She did participate, but I don't think she certainly did not have the same culpable mindset as the gentleman whose ID we don't know fully. I know that Ms. Dowdy did some personal level investigation of her own to try to figure out what his last name was. She tried to talk to some people who she thought to be mutual acquaintances, but she wasn't able to get anything more other than the first name that was either Jack or Jake. I forget at this point in time. But I believe from reading the police report that may be the same type of information that the victim in the case was able to provide the police with as well. So we don't know his whereabouts. We don't know his last name. We certainly don't have any reason, or Ms. Dowdy doesn't have any reason to protect that person because he put her in a bad spot that she wasn't consciously getting into. Nevertheless, that doesn't change the fact that the victim's home was burglarized. He had items taken, and we're sympathetic to that fact. We initially were trying to facilitate an agreement that involved intervention by the use of drug court. However, there were some complications with that. Happy complications, I will say. Ms. Dowdy had a baby a couple months ago, and given her responsibilities as a mother, the stuff going on with COVID, the frequency and the intensity of drug court, she did not want to sign up for something that she wasn't sure that schedule and duty wise she would be able to successfully complete. She did inform me that having the child was enough to kind of get her on the straight path, and we've been in pretty regular communication. She sounded good every time that I spoke with her. She sounded happy. And I believe that this interaction with the police was a wake-up call, and combined with her motherhood are sufficient restraints or sufficient motivations rather to keep her on a legal and lawful path. I would expect that alcohol and drug evaluation and treatment are part of her probation. just to make sure that if she lapses somehow, that probation is able to respond appropriately with measures that would discourage drug use. But I believe that the resolution that Ms. Hall has offered and that we've agreed to of 2 years probation and those conditions are appropriate.
Okay, thank you. That helps fill in some of the missing pieces to the story. Ms. Dowdy, I've got a couple questions for you, or a few questions for you, and then invite you to add anything you want about the journey that you've taken between October of last year and now. First, what was the drug, or what were the drugs that you were most addicted to back then?
Meth.
And what was the name of the gentleman you were with that day?
It was Jack. I'm not really sure. It was either Jake or Jack. I'm not really sure what his name was.
And how did you know him?
It was like through a friend of a friend. I mean, one of my friends knew him, knew something about him. That's the only reason why I got in the vehicle with him, is because one of my friends knew of him. Said he wasn't a bad person, so I was like, okay, well, I'll get in the car and we'll go hang out for the day. But I made some bad choices that day, because that's why once I found out that we're doing stuff that we weren't supposed to be doing, that's why I jumped out of the vehicle, because I thought my life was in danger. It wasn't very smart of me to jump out of the vehicle, but at that time, I felt like that's what I needed to do.
Okay, so it was Jack or Jake's truck. You were a passenger in it. And
yes.
When the police started chasing Jack or Jake, you got out of the truck.
Yes, I kept on telling him to let me out, and he was like, no, 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 no. And then that's when I was like, I've got to get out of this vehicle.
Okay. And how long were you in jail?
A month.
Okay. Since you got out, you've had a child. Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a boy.
What's his name?
Justin Time.
Where is Justin now?
He is in the room. He's in the room with my fiance.
Okay. Is the fiance the father of the child?
Yes.
Okay. And that's where Justin is right now. You guys have a date to get married?
No, we haven't really set a date. So we're still working on that with the money situation and everything. We haven't set a date.
What is Justin's father's first name?
It is William.
Last name is what? Wiggum?
His first name is William.
Oh, okay. And what's his last name?
Baker.
All right. Does Mr. Baker work?
Yes, he does.
What does he do?
He does. He sets up horse shows.
And are you working these days?
No, sir, I'm not.
When was Justin born?
March 19th.
Okay, so he's coming up on his 4-month birthday.
Yes.
You doing well?
Yes, very well.
Great. Is this your first child?
No, this is my third. I have an 18-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Okay. Are they in the Atlanta area?
They are in Douglasville.
Okay. Well, I'm happy that Justin came around. Tell me why you think that you are in a better place right now in terms of using meth.
Because, when I went to jail, I had a lot of time to think about the things that I did, with the drug use, and I didn't want to live like that, because right before I went to jail, I was living pretty bad. I mean, I was down in Fairburn Union City, living in like a little U-Haul trailer. I went with my kids where I needed to be. But once I found out I was pregnant, it just it made me think that I needed to be home. I needed to be with my kids, and the drugs isn't where I needed to be.
Okay. How long have you known Mr. Baker?
I've known him. I've known him for, let's see, like 17 years.
Okay. When you've worked in the past, what kind of work have you done?
I did AV, audio and video.
How long had you been struggling with methamphetamine?
I'd say about 2 years.
Okay. All right. Do you have any questions or anything you want to add?
No, sir.
You want to be sentenced as a first offender. I need to talk to you a little bit about that. The benefit of being a first offender is that this is not a conviction. It doesn't show up on your criminal history as a conviction. If you're looking to go back to work, you don't need to check the box that says I'm a felon, because you're not. You will be on probation, and as long as probation goes smoothly, when that's over, you're done with your case, and it does not become a conviction. So that's the upside, is that you emerge from this unfortunate episode without that big mar on your criminal history. And that helps with work and school or other things you may want to do.
Right.
There's risk to being a first offender, though. That means for 2 years, you're going to need to stay out of trouble. If you were to get arrested in 6 months because those drugs crept back in, you started using again, you made a bad choice, and I'm making this up, but you're driving a car that's not yours and it's stolen, you get pulled over.
Right.
Not only do you have those new charges, but these old charges that you pled guilty to, I could resentence you, and it could be up to the maximum, which in this case is 31 years. I'm not saying that's how it would play out, but I would be surprised if in a few months, with little Justin meeting you, you got strung out and got in trouble with the law, that I wouldn't say, we need to get you some serious help, and that's the kind of help you cannot walk away from. And you'd go to prison for a while. That really doesn't help anyone, other than it might help you work through the addiction. But that's the risk of first offender, is that without a trial, you have a hearing and you have a lawyer representing you, but there wouldn't be a jury trial, and the state's burden of proof would be less. You could be resentenced in this case, lose your first offender status, becomes a conviction, and you could go to prison. That's the risk. But if you think that you are in a better place with Mr. Baker in your life and Justin in your life, and that it's not going to be too much of a challenge for you over the next couple of years to stay out of trouble, then first offender may make a lot of sense. The decision for you and Mr. Franklin to work through, I don't make a decision one way or the other for you. You're certainly entitled to it, and I'm comfortable sentencing you as a first offender if you think that it is the right thing for you. What is your thought?
I think it's the right thing.
And why is that?
I mean, because I know that I'm not going to get in trouble. I know I'm not going to relapse because I'm in a better place and I have a different mindset. I don't want to do drugs. I want my life back. I want to, get back to doing what I used to be doing instead of hanging out with a bunch of drug addicts. I mean, I feel better, and I mean, I'm happy now. I say about 2 years ago, we lost our house in Douglasville, and that's what made me turn to drugs. But then with me getting pregnant again and just rethinking a whole lot of things, that's not the life I want to live. And now I have another kid, and I cannot bring this kid up in something like that. So I want a better place for both of us. So I think it's the right thing. I know I could do it.
Okay, well, good. That's the right frame of mind. Then I will sentence you as a first offender, Ms. Dowdy. I find that there is a factual basis for your plea. It may not have been your idea, it may have been Jack or Jake's idea, but you helped him do what he did.
Right.
So I do find there's a factual basis for your plea. I also find that your plea is knowing and voluntary. Voluntary means that you are entering this plea freely, that is your choice. It's an informed decision, but no one's forcing you to do it. Is that correct?
Correct.
And a knowing plea just means that you understand the things we've been talking about. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about anything we've talked about so far?
No.
I'm going to sentence you pursuant to the Probation Options Management Act. All of that means, Ms. Dowdy, is that if while you were on probation, you have some technical problems, maybe you miss a meeting or something like that, I don't have to get in the middle of it. But I will get in the middle of it if you are arrested again. If you have new charges, that comes back to me. But things less serious than that, you and probation will work through.
Okay.
Your guilty plea normally would include you signing the indictment, but you're not here. Your lawyer's not here. So I'm going to sign the indictment on your behalf with your permission. Do I have your permission to sign the indictment?
Yes, you do.
Mr. Franklin?
No objection.
Okay. Ms. Hall, actually, I already signed it for you too. Is that all right?
That's fine, Your
Ms.
Honor.
Hall says fine, even though she's here in court with me. Great. I've signed the indictment. I do need to pronounce the sentence, and in your case, Ms. Dowdy, it will be a sentence of 2 years on count 1, 2 years on count 2, and 12 months on count 3. I will run those concurrently with each other at the same time. So overall, it's a 2-year sentence. I will probate those 2 years, so you're going to be on probation. One of the conditions, a special condition, there are 2 special conditions. One of them is that you're going to stay away from Mr. LaCroix's house at 6000 Highway 154 in Fairburn. You may not remember much about that place, but it doesn't matter. Don't go there. That's a place you stay away from.
Okay.
The second condition is that you are going to submit to a drug and alcohol abuse evaluation. So someone who knows a whole lot more about addiction and whatnot is going to spend some time with you. And if that evaluation results in any recommended treatment, you need to go to AA meetings or NA meetings or who knows what, that treatment will become part of your sentence. So if the evaluator says you need some help, then you'll need to get that help. And if you do not, you will be in violation of your probation. I'm going to waive your probation reporting fees or supervision fees for the first 3 months. You got a little guy, and it may be a while before you're able to get back to work. So I'll give you a few more months where you don't need to worry about those fees. That's all I have. Ms. Hall, anything else in Ms. Dowdy's case?
Nothing else from the state, Your Honor.
Mr. Franklin, anything else for Ms. Dowdy?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
What I'm going to do now, Ms. Dowdy, is I'm going to move you and Mr. Franklin into a private conversation with Ms. Crawford. She is with probation, and she's going to tell you your reporting information. It's important information because if you do not report to probation within, she's going to tell you 2 days or 6 days, whatever it is, they're going to bring me a warrant to sign, and I'll sign it. Not because I want you to go to jail, but because you will have started out in the worst possible way because you didn't report to probation the first time. Is your home still in Fulton County?
No, it is not. I'm in Dulles,ville. So I don't want to go back to Fulton County. But I mean, if I have to for the probation, I will. Is there any way that it could be switched to Dulles County or no?
Of course, but you're going to need to report in Fulton because it's a Fulton case. So your very first meeting you have is here in Fulton County. But you can give them an address that they can confirm. If that address is in Douglas County, then supervision will be transferred to Douglas, so that the officer you meet with will be where you are, rather than you having to come all the way to Fulton. But that first time, because it's a Fulton case, you need to go to their office. You'll want to bring with you proof of residence so that they'll be able to see, look at that, Douglasville, and then they'll get it switched over, okay?
Okay, well, we're not staying in it. We're looking for a house, so we're staying in a hotel right now. So, I mean, can I still use that as my residence?
So there are all sorts of people in life who are in transitional housing. You're not the first one. I'll let you and probation talk about that. In fact, Ms. Crawford can probably tell you about it when I move you into that room, that chat room with Ms. Crawford. But don't panic. As long as you keep probation informed of your whereabouts, calling in and saying, hey, we're moving to a different motel or we found a house, that's fine. But the burden is on you to keep them posted. They don't need to hunt you down. You need to let them know what's going on, okay?
Okay.
Great, all right. Well, I wish you the best, Ms. Dowdy. You take care of little Justin and make smart decisions on his behalf. I'm gonna move you to Mr. Franklin. You don't need to do anything. You may need to click something on your screen and move over to this chat room. But you'll talk with Ms. Crawford. She'll give you reporting instructions. If for any reason you get disconnected while you're moving over there, you need to reach out to Mr. Franklin and he'll give you that info, okay?
Okay.
All right, everyone sit back, see if I can make this work.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Martin.
You're still just a little bit hard to hear.
Okay.
I mean, you're not echoing. It's just, you're just a little hard to hear.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. I mean, I got it all. I just strain.
Whoops, I went to the breakout room too. I don't want to be here. Don't start talking yet. I'm gonna leave the breakout room. I'm accidentally in your breakout room. I don't know what happened here. User error.
Okay.
Boy, it's scary. Here we go. I'm back.
All right, I went to the breakout room.
Accidentally, but I'm gone. And there's Mr. Adams. All right. Down. You are great. Your lawyer's here on the screen. So we'll make sure you can hear him, and I'll make sure he can hear you. You may be that you have to come up to the podium. That way it'll be easiest, but let's just make sure we've got everyone here. All right, Ms. Martin, you don't need to take anything down yet. I'll let you know when you need to. Mr. Adams, can you hear us? You're on mute.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you.
Fantastic. Mr. McElroy is here. I'm going to have him come up to the podium, and then you might be able to hear him better, okay?
Thank you, Judge.
All right, so you can see there's Mr. Adams. There used to be a camera on that computer. If you step to the side a little bit, let me see if Ms. Hall can get that. There you are. All right.
Great.
Mr. Adams can see you. And we're going to talk a little bit about your situation. So today was the final plea day. It's the last day for you to enter a plea and be able to withdraw that plea if you don't like the sentence you're getting. But I think we're not even going that far with the case. Ms. Hall, tell me, excuse me, what the state's plan is in Mr. McElroy's case.
Thank you, Your Honor. The state's last recommendation was PTI. I reached out to PTI myself this morning. I think that she's emailed over the paperwork to Mr. Adams, and I think that's why I fell off it.
Okay. Mr. Adams, did you end up getting paperwork from pretrial intervention?
Yes, Your Honor. I did speak with Ms. Roll with pretrial services. She did send the paperwork to me. I've been trying to reach my client, so I was unable to get it to him. But we do have an agreement to go forward with pretrial intervention. The only question I need to discuss with my client is whether he wants to do the virtual PTI or if he prefers to do the regular one, which is now being done by Zoom video. And there's some slight differences between the two that I wanted to go over with him and then let him decide which one.
Okay, hold on for a second. Do you have a phone? What's a good phone number, Mr. Adams, that Mr. McElroy, because I'll have him step outside court. He can call you, we'll mute you, you guys can have a private conversation.
That's fine, Your Honor. It's 404-502-7260.
All right, I'm gonna have him call
that
for just a second. When you guys are done talking, he can come right back into court and we'll figure out what the plan is, okay?
Okay.
Great.
Did you get that number? You wanna write it down or?
Yeah.
You wanna type it in? Why don't you just type it in your phone?
Oh, yeah. I have my phone also.
That's okay. It's probably what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But once you write in that number, you can go outside the courtroom, talk with Mr. Adams, and when you guys are squared away, just come back in and we'll deal with your case.
All right, sir. Load up.
Coming to life?
Yeah, it takes a while. Every time I turn it on, it takes about a couple minutes.
Get you in the phone.
Yeah, it has battery low. That's what it is. I got the first. It's 404.
404-502. 7260.
Okay.
Stand by. So
all right.
you dial that, go on out there, talk with him, and then come back in when you're done.
Okay.
So we didn't see Mr. Marrero and we didn't see Mr. Simmons. I will talk with Ms. Nelson offline about that. And Ms. Snyder, that's Mr. McElroy who just walked out. Mr. Adams is on the Zoom call, but he's going to chat with Mr. McElroy to try to figure out the mechanics of PTI. If I'm remembering correctly, let me see. Mr. Franklin, are you all done?
Yes, Sean.
All right, you're welcome to stay on. I didn't mean to, did Ms. Dowdy get what you needed to get about probation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, thank you all. I will see you all on Monday.
All right, have a good weekend.
All right, you too. Bye-bye.
The issue with Ms. Eubanks is we need to get you in touch with her and then maybe she needs to do her 40 hours over in order to be able to get documentation. But that, it sounds like that's the hang up. It's not going to be to testify truthfully. Okay. How much time do you want me to give you to connect with her before we start to worry that she's decided she's just not going to connect with you?
Maybe like 2 weeks. I'm gonna keep trying to go over it because we've been able to call them before and now so I just send her a letter and ask her to, reach out. So 2 weeks just to make sure that I have enough time to get the letter to her and get a response.
Okay. You all right with that, Ms. Hall?
Yes, sir.
This is one where it sounds like it could be as minor as a paperwork issue. But you were present when Ms. Snyder was not and Ms. Eubanks showed up for court. This was before my time. But
I was.
you would have then received the piece of paper if there had been some roster of hours that Ms. Eubanks had completed and made a record of that.
I would have, however, Your Honor, that first day in Judge Reader's courtroom, I had assistance. So if I received it, I would have put it in the file, but someone else could have received it.
You got a second?
I did, or I was their sidekick. maybe.
That must have been nice.
Just the transition, that was my first day in front of her.
Sure. Okay.
They were only there for a little minute though. They left me by myself quite.
All right. So we'll give you a couple of weeks, Ms. Snyder, to sort that out. It's not 250 is in 1 minute. So if you want to stick around for a few more minutes, we'll see what happens. Do you have any sense of whether your client and Mr. McElroy would know each other? Because we also asked Mr. McElroy, hey, how do you get in touch with you?
I'll see. I think she knew one of the other. I believe she knew Mr. Brown, the driver.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Brown has already pled?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, can I take 1 minute? I'd have to let my dog outside. I'd have to open the door.
No, I do not want your dog to make an accident in your house. Go.
Okay, come on, Bianca. Come on, come on in. Thank you.
Did we avoid any accident?
No accidents, thank you.
Quiet conversation. What were the conditions of PTI?
That's not,
Right. Shouldn't be practiced.
it's regular PTI.
No PTI. But if it's gonna be virtual, what would they do?
See, I think he misunderstood. When we were discussing it, I mentioned virtual if there was no program that AIM could support with his charges. You know, normally with this anger issue, we say anger management.
Right, but
So,
that's not this kind of case.
Right, and so once I spoke with AIM said she can accommodate these charges and whatever else. So, she sent him the paperwork, so I figured they had that conversation and he was good with it.
Game cost something?
It costs, I think, $500 or $600. She said virtually it'll be $600. When he comes in to do his random drug screening, it'll be $500. But when I heard him say that to him, I texted him to verify, to make sure there was no confusion as far as virtual versus normal PTI. But he didn't respond because he was probably already on the phone with him.
Right.
But I don't.
So if the stumbling block is the money that goes to AIM, then that's when you might do virtual PTI, but there needs to be some kind of condition other than just that arm's way, community service.
Right.
Sort of like what Ms. Snyder's client, is you bet. Okay. So Mr. Adams is reseated. Good stuff. Hey, Mr. Adams.
Good afternoon, Judge. We're, I think Mr. McElroy should be re-entering the courtroom shortly.
Yep, I see him. He's coming through the door. There he is.
All right.
Come on back to the podium, Mr. McElroy. Okay, so did you all have enough time to talk?
Yes, we did, yeah.
Okay. So Mr. Adams, why don't you, as counsel for Mr. McElroy, you do the talking, although if Mr. McElroy wants to add something, I'll certainly hear from him. What's the plan?
Your Honor, we agreed to go into the PTI program. He's decided to go with the virtual option. I've explained to him the difference between the virtual option and the regular option as explained to me by the director of the program, Tracy Roll. And so he wants to do that. And he's prepared to sign the forms. Now, I don't know if Ms. Hall has the forms with her. I have the forms that were sent to me. I can email them to your office. I'm authorizing you, Judge. I'm also on the record of authorizing you or Cassie Hall or my client to sign my name because you need my signature. And so Mr. McElroy is there so he can sign his name, and then we'll need Madam Prosecutor's signature, and we need your Honor's signature on the form. I'm sure you're familiar with the forms that they have, but I think the signatures are just needed on the first page.
Well, let me see if Ms. Hall has, you may be the only one with the forms right now. Ms. Hall, do you have any of the PTI forms?
And she emailed them to me as well last week. I didn't print them out. And I think that it'll be a little problematic trying to have us fill it out because that is something normally the defense attorney will fill out in its entirety. And then we just, as in the defendant and the prosecutor and yourself, would just sign. I don't know if it's that complicated. I just have never filled out the actual form other than my signature.
Okay, Mr. Adams, is there additional, I've seen two different types of PTI orders. There's the one you're holding up where it's basically just signatures. But recently I saw one where there are all these vital stats. Yeah, I'm not sure to know that about Mr. McElroy.
That's true, Judge. I'm looking, you're correct. There is what they call the pretrial intervention direct referral form. And that's where we put the name, social security number, and address and phone numbers on.
So my thought would be if you can complete as much of that as possible and you can get whatever you don't have from Mr. McElroy, and then just trying to think how to do that. Do you have the ability to scan?
Yes, Judge.
Great. So you complete as much as you can. You sign it. And then if you will scan and email what you've signed to Ms. Nelson, then we'll see if Mr. McElroy authorizes me to sign on his behalf. I'll ask him in a minute. And if Ms. Hall authorizes, then no one else has to come back to court. You know, I'll take care of the signing it. We'll figure out where it needs to go to get it working.
Sure.
You, Mr. Adams?
I'm sorry, Judge?
Does that work for you?
Yes, if I could just take maybe about 10 minutes.
Sure, you can have as much time as you want. I'm not going to make Mr. McElroy wait here. You should fill it out. You may even need to call him if you want to have the social security number, for example. My thought was when you get it filled out, then you email it and you sign it and you scan it and you get it to Ms. Nelson. would like to see it by Monday at the latest. And then I'll take it from there. Does that give you enough time?
Sure, I just thought you may have wanted to get Mr. McElroy's signature on it while he's there now.
It depends on how quickly you think you could fill it out. If it's something that's gonna take you 5 minutes, you got 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, then he could wait, you could scan it and email it, I could print it out, and then we could get, Mr. McElroy's signature, which is always better than my signature.
Sure. I'll get it done in 5 minutes, Judge. Phil.
I don't know if you take your time. I may not be on the bench, I'll go back to chambers, but we may be able to release most of the other folks here.
Oh, good.
We'll just handle the paperwork. Do you need Mr. McElroy to be available by phone so that you can fill everything out, or do you have all the information?
It may be good for him to be available by phone. Because I'm not sure if I think I have his address, but I just want to make sure I have his address.
Okay, so why don't we do this? You can stay in court and you can use the phone in court because we're going to be done here. And just if Mr. Adams calls you, answer the phone and give him the info he needs. When it's done, he's going to email it to Ms. Nelson, who will let me know. I can print it out back there. I'll bring out the official version. You can sign it and we'll be all set.
Okay.
Does that work?
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. All right, Mr. Adams, you guys get to work.
Thank you, Judge.
Okay. All right. That only leaves Ms. Eubanks, who's not here. Do you want to do what we discussed, Ms. Snyder, which is I'll give you a couple weeks to try to track her down, figure out what's going on. You'll work the phone, you'll mail something to her. And if we haven't heard, then I may need to do a bench warrant just because we got to make something happen. Hey, Mr. McElroy, do you know Ms. Eubanks? There were 4 people who got arrested in your case.
I briefly were, I didn't know her per se, like, you know.
That's not someone who'd be in your phone.
No.
Okay. Who did you know in the group?
Basically, guys in the vaccine.
Okay. Is that Williams or Brown?
Williams.
Okay. All right. That's what you were saying. Okay. We're just trying to track down Ms. Eubanks. She's been reachable, but just very, very recently, her lawyer had a little trouble finding her. So work on that. I'll get a little tickler in Ms. Nelson's calendar, and she might reach you if you haven't reached out to her. Otherwise, we'll need to put something out for Ms. Eubanks. Does that work? Okay, great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Hall, do you need to sign the PTI order as well? Do you mind sitting tight?
I don't mind.
Okay. Then I think we're done. Mr. Herrera didn't show up. So I think we're gonna do a bench warrant for him. And we'll take it from there. So thank you, Ms. Martin. I think you're gonna be helping us on Monday.
Yes, you're stuck with me on Monday.
We may be stuck with you longer than that. It turns out that Mr. Forte needs to be away for a while.
That's okay. I'm happy doing
Great.
it,
We just-
especially when 10 are canceled out of, no, I'm kidding. Have a safe weekend.
All right, thank you for dialing in.
Thank you, guys. Take care. See you
Bye.
Monday. Bye.
Bye. Thank you, Ms. Crawford. Have a great weekend.
You're welcome, you too.
Mr. Church, you're still there. Have a great weekend. My intern just finished. You will labor on as the public defender intern. Ms. Rolak, thank you for representing those victims. Ms. Nelson,
Thank you, Judge.
All right. I will circle back with you, Ms. Nelson, so we can iron out what happened with this calendar. And I saw you've already sent the final dispo, so I'll scan in the Dowdy indictment, and that should take care of it. All right. That is a sure thing, Judge. I'll leave the call out just in case Mr. Adams.
Oh, no, I'm here. I just sent you the indictment for Phillips, if you're able to stamp it.
Yeah, I'll do that with your fancy stamp. Oh, and I can have, yeah, great, I'll do that. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Bet. All right, so I will come back out here, Ms. Hall, as soon as I get the email from Ms. Nelson. It's gonna be sort of this three-step. You and Mr. Adams are gonna, he'll fill out the paperwork, he'll scan it, send it, it'll get to me, I'll print it. You'll sign it, Mr. McElroy, and Ms. Hall will sign it, if you document it. All right. Yes, Ms. Nelson.
What are we doing with position number 7? I don't know if you ever said or if I missed it.
I did, that's a bench warrant.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. So I'll be back out, we'll get this thing signed, and, we're all done, we shut it down. Sounds good, John. Thanks.
You need to know, man, just sit right there. Put your phone in right there. I promise you, man, but you know what I think that you do this. Take that chair and sit right there and plug in. Sit at the charger place, I mean, out.
Okay, I got the information from Mr. Adams, and I'm looking through it. Now, you want me to send this to the judge for his signature, correct? Uh-oh, I can't hear you, Mr. Adams. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. Yes, first though, we need to get my client, Ms. McElroy, to fill out his portions and we can submit. And also there's a place for Cassie to sign.
Okay, I'll have the judge, I'll print it out and I'll have the judge bring it in.
Okay.
Yeah, not like, you know how you can serve your Yahoo and stuff to come to your phone? Not that way, but like through the link.
I'm trying to check my work email to my phone, and I don't know how to website.
Oh, the phone is there. So what I normally do is I go to the Fulton County website, and at the top of there, it says web page or something. I click on that, and it'll take you directly to where you sign in. So go to I go to Google and type in like, Fulton County, what do I type in? Just type in Fulton County, huh?
Yeah, Fulton County government.
Yeah, and click on that website. Well, see, I play with it. I put in Fulton County and then I put, Fulton County Employee Central.
Oh, Fulton Central.
Cause then it brings up that one. Mm-hmm. So this is big on the phone, but, at the top one, in the search bar, just like a web. Actually, it's gonna have to be, so there's one. Okay, we will go to Google and Fulton County DA's office, employees. DA's office.
All right, here's the form, Mr. McElroy has stuff he needs to add, on the referral form, date of birth, stuff like that. The phone numbers, his call signs on the front, and like, Mr. McElroy signs the third. I'll let you guys work through that. It's all complete.
Oh.
Are you Ms. Eubank? Good to see you. You can take a seat. Your lawyer already left. I need to go get the calendar.
I'm
and
really nervous, I'm late,
You're not in trouble. Just take a seat.
okay.
We'll work it out. You have Ms. Snyder's,
I do, but my phone dead. 5
because
minutes.
she could patch in this way.
If maybe Ms. Nelson can send her email, she's
You wanna
really.
use-
I will. I'll send her an email or I'll call her.
Wait, let me see if she can patch in. I will get to that.
Today wasn't a day to leave work early, y'all.
You're doing great, Cassie. You're doing great.
I had to say something. Did you find it?
Every time I'm trying to go back and county, 46, and see if I can find it that way.
would touch your mom, but you know, and everything.
Oh, yeah, industrial access is coming to the.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I have to do that every time. I never save. You got to make it a favorite or something so you can save it. I never do that.
Hey, Ms. Snyder, this is Deidre. Your client just showed up, so the judge wants, he said, can you zoom in? Okay, I'll let him know. Okay, bye-bye. Uh-huh. Uh-huh, we're still on. So do you need me to send you the link or anything, or you have it? Okay, all righty. Bye-bye.
You can bring it over here so your client can, your attorney can look at it. But Miss Adams, you want me to look over it?
Oh, okay, sure, that's fine.
Ms. Hall?
Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Snyder's gonna zoom in. Did you hear that whole conversation?
We sure did.
Man, I don't understand. Sorry.
Do we need to draw a line?
So
Oh, I can't.
That's that one.
Okay. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, this is the other one.
On the, okay, the front page, the first page, do we need to draw a line where it talks about restitution or put NA or anything? Just leave it blank?
No, I just leave it blank, and I put to make it feel better.
I put the,
I'm here.
oh, I put the 40 hours of community service.
I see. So I'm gonna put I'm gonna put 0 by restitution so that you know for sure.
Okay. And she said that he could pay the, do it, thank you, for the other thing. Okay, great.
All right, so I'll give this
No
to.
fines and anything too. So I don't know if you want to put a 0 where it says fines and all that stuff.
So what'd you say?
You may want to put a 0 just on the same line. There's a line that says restitution, another line for fines and fees.
Okay, Mr. Adams, we're gonna make sure your client don't pay nothing. There's another.
That's right. I gotta look after my client. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so all these are done. I'm gonna put it up here. So when the judge comes back out, he can sign it.
Okay. Good afternoon.
How you doing, Mr. Adams?
Doing great. How are you, Miss Snyder?
I'm all right.
Good.
I'm courtroom 1D. I put my stuff
Is
up already.
is Miss Eubanks sitting right there?
Uh-huh, you want her?
Yes, please.
You come up here. Oh, you can switch yourself right. Right, no, you come. No, you come all the way because she's right here.
How you doing, How you doing, Miss Eubanks?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm all right. I don't know if this is being live streamed. Well, when the judge comes back, I'm gonna ask him to
You want me to
put
step?
us.
You want me to step out, Mary Beth?
It's
This
live.
is being.
It
As I
is.
say, this is being live streamed on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Do you want the judge to come and take it off, or what do you want?
If he could just put us in a break.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
well,
then she would still be sitting in open
well, no,
court.
she can go.
Do you have what's your cell phone number?
Don't say, you don't want her to say it. Have her write it down.
Will you have it? Will you write it down and hand it to the prosecutor so she can send it to me in a chat?
My phone just died. Oh, her phone just died.
Okay.
And I actually have some information for you. So I was hoping, should I plug in the iPhone?
I ain't even got one. My phone.
Well, that's it. That's it. We're trying to figure out how we can talk privately.
Let me see. She said she got some information for you on her phone, so she really needs to charge it.
It just literally died.
Who has a chart? What is it? An iPhone?
Yes. And I didn't even stay at home last night so that I could have got here today. So it's like, I'm having a bad day. I'm having a bad day.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Okay, so I have a charger in my car.
What's her phone?
Can I use somebody else's phone?
Oh yeah, you can use this one. Mary Beth, what's your number?
Well, I'm not putting that out there on the internet either.
Okay, so Mary Beth, send me a chat on here and then I'll call you on the phone inside the courtroom so that she can talk to you.
Well, you have my number in your phone.
My phone dead. It went dead.
Your phone.
It went dead like 30 minutes ago.
Okay.
I thought we were live when I was telling you I couldn't get off work early too. Dang.
Okay, I'm gonna send it to the 1D and not.
Okay.
Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. Everybody who's on here knows my cell phone number.
Sorry.
Oh.
But her phone is dead, my phone is dead, and now my phone isn't working.
Well, let's not break that thing. We can try to make that happen. Let's take care of Mr. McElroy. Does he fill everything out?
Yeah, that's right.
It's all here. Okay, great. Signed it. Phone number. And I will sign it. All right. Mr. Adams is still there. Patient.
Yes.
So everyone signed everything except for me. I'll sign it and we'll get it filed, e-filed, and I guess that'll take care of it.
Great. Thank you, Judge.
Does Mr. McElroy know where he needs to go?
He does not. I can, but I'll.
It says he's supposed to be, are you in virtual?
Yes.
Okay, so he doesn't need to go to North Desert Drive.
Well, he still has to do the, my understanding that even with the virtual, he does have to attend the orientation in person.
Okay.
I'll get with, I'll review my notes from my conversation with the director earlier today and I'll call him I'll call Mr. McElroy and let him know what Ms. Roth, the director, says.
Well, there's a phone number on the form that says he's supposed to call within 24 hours to set up.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
So you got that phone number? You didn't take it down. You want to take it down? You already made it home, Ms. Snyder?
Yes, sir. I live very close to the courthouse.
Yeah, that's fast. All right, congrats. Let me know when you're ready. Ready? 404 941 9350. Got it? All right, you call, that's the AIM folks. You call them, they'll let you know what the game plan is, and you will be good to go. All right? Anything else, Ms. Hall, for Mr. McElroy?
Nothing else from the state, Your Honor.
All right, I'll get this scanned in. You take care of what you need to take care of, and this gets dismissed, okay? You don't, it comes back and you have to deal with it. All right. So, Ms. Snyder, Ms. Eubanks is here. She was real nervous that she was late. I told her it's okay. You will sort this out. And I guess she wants to talk to you. One way we can make that happen is that Ms. Hall could get out of the courtroom along with me, and then it's just the two of you. Mr. Adams, you're good to go, okay?
Thanks, Judge. And I'd like to publicly thank your litigation manager, Deidre Nelson, really helped me out today.
Okay, she's the greatest.
She is.
All right, you can help contribute to the raise that we're trying to get her.
The check's in the mail, Judge.
Excellent. All right, you have a good weekend.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thanks, Ms. Hall.
You're welcome.
All right, so what if Ms. Snyder, Ms. Hall, and I get out of the courtroom because I don't know why the phone's not working. It looks like it's working now. Hopefully Ms. Hall didn't break it because they're expensive phones.
No, I just picked it up.
I tried figuring it out again without mashing that other thing. That number's not working. Weird. Okay. Be that as it may. Ms. Snyder, if you and Ms. Eubanks just talk here in court, Ms. Hall and I get out of court, will that work? Not perfect, but at least you get
It would work if you just take us either off of the live feed and put us in a breakout room, I guess.
Oh, right. I guess if I put 1D and you into a breakout room, and then Ms. Hall and I get out of here, that should work.
I believe so.
Okay.
It shouldn't take very long for us to chat.
Okay. So, Ms. Eubanks, you need to come up to the podium here. And Ms. Hall, you just go right in the jury room. Let's see if I can make this work. Is there something on the screen there that just came up? Can you click it?
Say join.
What does it say?
There we go.
Awesome.
Why it is soundproof.
It's all real cool how everything is coming so virtual now, though.
It's sort of cool. Nice if we didn't need it.
Right.
Hey, you ready? Ms. Hall? It's good to know it's soundproof in there. Jury can't hear what's going on. Yeah, no, but now we know, I can tell people, don't worry, jury can't hear. All right, so we don't have a court reporter. Let's try not to make anything super official here. There's some phone number. Okay. I must have brought it back. Here's what I remember. You were in the case of Mr. McElroy and a couple other folks. You had agreed to do PTI before I had your case. I'm Judge McBurney, by the way.
Nice to meet you.
And you were going to do some community service, and you agreed to testify truthfully. There's no one left to testify against. You guys have pled. Mr. McElroy got PTI like you did.
Two guys pled
Pled guilty.
guilty.
Like I did. Someone said it was my drugs or whatever the situation was. So there's no one that you need to testify about. So we just need to figure out, did you do your community service? And poor Miss Snyder was trying to recollect. She wasn't here the day you were here in January. I wasn't here. It wasn't my case. Ms. Hall was here, but she had someone helping her. So why don't you start by telling me what's going on?
So that day in January, what Miss Eubanks provided to the other attorney was completion of some hours, not all of them, but where she had done a few hours. And so that was what the note was. I just didn't, it was we worked it out. She's done some hours. She's got a few more to do. The only issue is that with COVID, she was quarantined for a while, came back negative, but she's not been able to go back yet because her doctor just cleared her to go back to work. So I would ask that we do the 2-week reset that we were going to do before, so she can try to reach out to the people that she's doing the community service with to see if she can do it virtually. And
how do you do virtual community service?
That's what I'm trying to do.
Administrative work.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a few questions. I think we can work through this. You were working, and then you had to take time off.
Correct.
What do you do?
Right now, I'm working at Costco's where I'm packing and shipping.
Okay. So like in a warehouse or an actual Costco
An
store?
actual Costco store.
Okay. How long have you been working there?
I only been there for like 3 weeks now.
Okay. So that's a new job.
Yes, it is.
Can you go back?
Go back. What do
to
you
the
mean?
job?
Can I go back now?
I don't mean today, but you had to take time off because you were quarantined. Will they take you back?
No, I had to take time off from my Hibbett sports job from quarantine. And then after that, everything shut down. And then they wanted us to clear to go back. Well, a lot of people did clear. But by the time I cleared, they found new people. And we had to clear at Costco's also.
So your new job is Costco.
And
your old job? What did you say? It was some sports thing?
Hibbett Sports.
Okay.
It's a shoe store.
Shoe store. Okay. How many community service hours have you done?
I only completed 5.
5. So you have 35 left.
I do.
You need to take care of those.
Yes, sir.
Okay. How much time would you like to take care of the 35 hours?
I was hoping I can get 2 weeks to see like how far I can get, with the COVID and stuff like that.
Sure. Given that 40 hours, how many hours do you work at Costco?
Right now I'm working 6 to 8 hours, but I'm only working 3 days a week.
3 days a week, so you're working 18 to 24 hours a week.
I want to complete 10 hours a day with the community service.
10 hours a day, what would you do?
Whatever I can.
Okay. Well, community service may be harder to come by these days. It's not impossible, because I have met some folks who are able to do some, but there's certainly fewer opportunities because of COVID. So why don't we have Ms. Snyder check in with Ms. Hall and Ms. Nelson, who's invisible to you right now. She's just a square on the screen. She works with me in 2 weeks, and you can let us know what you've done. If you're not done, that's all right. I'm going to start to get fussy if a month goes by, if it's August and you're not done, because you've actually had lots and lots and lots of weeks to do this. And I understand other things are going on, but we didn't have COVID in January or February, and you could have taken care of it. So you just need to get this off your back.
Right.
It sounds like you got more important things to do in your life.
No.
And you regret you were riding in the car with those knuckleheads, but it's still dogging you until you take care of the community service.
You're right. You're correct. You're right.
Well, I don't have to be right. That's not the point so much that I'm right. Just like, you want to get this done with.
Yes, that's all I'm saying. You're right.
So do you have resources to figure out where you can do community service?
Just Hands-On Atlanta. That's the only resource I have.
Okay, but that's what I was going to say, is reach out to someplace like Hands-On Atlanta, and they can help you. I know that Trees Atlanta is starting to do things because that's outdoors, so it's easier to be a part. And I am certainly not recommending a charity. I get in trouble if I say you have to do your community service with the dog shelter or this or that. You pick your own, but it's time to find some and knock some hours out. So why don't we say, if I look at the calendar here, July 27th, that is 2 weeks and 3 days, so it's 3 Mondays from now. Ms. Snyder will be due to give an update to Ms. Hall and Ms. Nelson. You don't have to do it directly. You're letting Ms. Snyder know, and ideally you're able to send her something. Hey, here's my hour sheet. However you can document it, because word of mouth won't do it. There'll need to be someone signed it saying that you made. So it's the most amazing tree planter or meal preparer or whatever it was. She did 35 hours, but you get what you need to get. And we'll see where you are on the 27th. The answer is you've done 0, we probably make you come back to record. If you've done some, then we'll just keep it up and make sure it gets taken care of.
Okay, sounds good.
Does that work for you?
Yes, it does.
Do you have any questions about that?
I do not.
Before you go, how do you keep in touch with Ms. Snyder?
I have her card. And I have her email address and I have her card. But
how does she keep in touch with you?
She has my phone number, but I could actually get her information again. But it's right here.
She gave me a new number to get a hold of her.
Great. Okay, because Ms. Snyder got a little worried she wasn't able to track you down the last few weeks. Did you get a new number?
I had to get a new phone because my other phone was hacked. So I just got a new phone day before yesterday.
Okay, and that whatever the number of your now dead phone is,
she
Ms.
has
Snyder has that number?
Yes.
Okay, great. And does that card you're holding have all the info from Ms. Snyder?
I would like to get it again just in case.
Okay, do you have a pen?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
Miss Eubanks, if I'll give you, when do you think you'll have your phone charged? If I give you a
As
call
soon as I get in the car.
Okay. I'll just give you a call in about 15 minutes.
Okay, or you can shoot a text, or it doesn't matter. But as soon as I get in the car, my phone is going to be charged.
Okay.
So you can text her or call her. That'll complete the handshake. You guys will be able to reach each other. And Ms. Nelson will be looking for an update on those hours by July 27th.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Everything else okay?
Yes.
All right, good luck with everything.
Thank you.
See ya.
Bye, you guys.
Bye.
All right, you're on it.
All right, you managed to take care of almost everything, only that I'm a poor guy who doesn't qualify for the public defender and has a fake lawyer. We'll see. All right, thank you, Ms. Snyder. Sorry to go to your home.
Oh, no, I'm glad we were able to work this out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye.
Mr. Adams is-
All right, y'all have a good weekend.
Okay, thanks, Ms. Hall, you too. Ms. Nelson, I emailed you some things. Do you need anything more from me?
I don't think so. I was looking at, and I don't know if I know how, if I'm gonna figure it out, how to split the document that I'm e-filing for Mr. Adams' client,
I can do it for you. You want me to just send you the first page?
please.
All right, I will.
And I'll send the other paperwork to Mr. Adams so he has a copy of it.
Okay. I will send you the first page and then I think you'll have everything you need from me, but I know you'll let me know if you don't.
All right. Have a good weekend.
Thanks, you too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye.